Welcome back to the shop, guys. In the last episode of Project Hank here, I put a different front stub on the front of this 50 Chevy pickup, or different front frame section because it was so butchered. Got my cradle set in and the engine back in, and when I got that set in, I realized that the rack wasn't going to fit because the motor was mounted way lower than it has to be now. And I realized that I have to bring the motor forward probably 1.5 inches. Now in the back of this truck, there is a 3-link like 80s Firebird setup in it, so it's got one bar that comes from the rear axle all the way to the tail end of the transmission, which means when I move this up and forward, I'm going to need a longer drive shaft, and I would have to remake all the brackets for that 3-link setup for that Firebird stuff. Ironically, that also was Firebird. I didn't know what that was in the front end in the last video, but they had like an 80s Firebird cradle welded up into this thing. Regardless, got to make a longer drive shaft, got to redo the rear suspension. So after talking to the guy that owns it, we decided to go triangulated 4-link in the back. So the other day we got the box off of it, cut all the bolts off of that, got it off. It wasn't really mounted that well. Got it set off to the side, and now we can see what we're working with here. And it also is just going to be way easier with the box off to put the 4-link into it. So I really didn't notice quite what was going on here until we got the box off, and they did a lot of stuff on here that's kind of odd. They widened the frame out here. You can see it's cut over here, kicked out probably 2.5 inches, and then welded there. And then on the inside of the rail, they have a piece of 2x4 welded in solid all the way around. I mean, it's strong enough. It might not be the prettiest, but it's strong enough. And the reason they did that was to get the right rail width to mount these brackets for this Firebird style 3-link. You got your 2 lower bars going under the rear end, and then you got your big third member here that goes all the way up and mounts to the tail shaft of the transmission, and that's the bar that keeps the rear end, or the differential, from flipping over one way or another. So we're gonna get rid of all of this stuff now. Go triangulated 4-link. Also, I don't know if I have a shot of it, but maybe I'll pop one up here. The axle was, or the center line of the rear axle, or the tire, you can almost see it right here. It's way forward on the truck. It wasn't centered out. So I measured the bed, which is the tire here now, but I measured between the stake pockets and found my center line of that. To me, that's where the wheel should be mounted. That center line on the side of the box is right here. The one with the arrow. And that is exactly like 6.5 inches back from the center line of where it is now. So when we put the 4-link in, I am going to move that axle back, get it on the center line, get the tire nice and centered out on the side of the box. I think it's going to look a lot better, and we're going to make our wheelbase 7 inches longer, which is going to help for handling and stuff, because it's kind of stubby right now. The axle's driven forward in the back. So with that being said, I'm going to get this fuel cell out of the back of this thing so I don't blow myself up, and completely strip all this stuff off the frame and get ready to put my 4-link in.
oil.
Alright, so the rear axle is sitting on the ground now, obviously not welded to the frame. The tires are sitting on the ground. The cross member is free floating. I'm going to go let this thing down, get the front suspension sitting on the ground, and get it leveled out and get that cross member tacked into place in the back. Well, the gas tank's all welded up, sitting in. It's as far as I can really go on it. I ordered a new sending unit for Stuart Warner gauges that are in the truck and a aluminum filler cap to weld on the top. It comes out to about 24.5 gallons. I got two nice baffles inside welded on the edges, nice and strong. It's going to hold everything together well. Edges are all welded up, ready to roll. I got to do my vent and my feed tube out of it yet as well, but I'm probably going to put two hangers coming off the bed frame here, just down, over, and up like normal fuel cell would be. Put a rubber pad on the bottom of those, set the tank in on that, and then I'm probably going to put a flange all the way around that tank and just be able to bolt it off to the floor on my square tube underneath here. So run a through bolt or maybe do a nut zerk or something like that. But that's about as far as I can go on that. And that's going to be a wrap for this video. I got a whole stainless steel exhaust system coming for this off of eBay. That's pretty much going to be the next step after the fuel cell's done here, and I get the rest of my parts for the exhaust. So thanks for watching, guys. Till next time.